That's something I do, like I write it and then just completely forget it.
Any of you guys interested in taking photos?
All I can think of is because I love planet Earth. Because it's already there.
No. Well, maybe once this is done, we can make it like a feminist thing. Because feminism. Climate change.
Question. Yeah, that's what I didn't want to say.
Do you guys want a little photo? Can we stand up?
Yeah, which one's it?
Because then you have a kind of white background. Yay! Would you guys like some pizza?
Yes.
There's one at the back, but there's also
There's a veggie piece.
yeah. If you want to pass it on.
Yes, definitely. Holy moly.
Just have a little bit that exactly. 2 hours ago.
Do you want, Kate? Do you want some pizza?
I think we've got one that passed on there.
Could I have a slice of that?
Yeah, of course.
Is that
Yeah, that's veggie.
I don't trust jalapenos.
That's not vegetarian, yeah. Try that as well.
What, isn't vegetarian?
Just present with it in
Yeah, I did.
It is vegetarian.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or is veggie free?
No, I got it.
Well, I mean, it does describe itself. We grab a piece of pizza.
Take yours, don't want it.
Very good. Thank
And then my mum and daddy.
That's not so good. Quite a bit of trash.
Yeah, they really want the view.
It's quite nice, but like,
Very, very good. Back there.
What do you study?
I'm doing marine biology.
Oh, interesting. So is it like, I used to do sociology.
Oh, really? I don't know much about that, but I know some people doing it. Are you in Feminist Society?
No, but it's just actually I would advise to come here because I'm actually like a young green, so like I became involved in divestment, but I wanted to first go to investment society, but then like people go to feminist society because what I'm interested basically is like climate justice. Mm-hmm. It's like different types of like people, maybe like indigenous, maybe LGBT, like say bring in also issues of justice together with climate change. So that's what I'm interested in.
No, it's really interesting. I don't know much about it, so I'm keen to know more, obviously. But, really cool.
It's a big movement.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super thirsty.
Leave with that.
You should have some water.
No, it's fine, I'll last.
Have you read Naomi Klein's book?
Yeah, I love her. She's one of my favourites.
Yeah, actually.
The first one I read was No Logo, and now I'm just reading This Changes Everything.
I didn't read No Logo. I read The Shock Doctrine.
Yeah, I think that's the same as This Changes Everything, I think. No, I'm really liking it. I'm just finding it so slow reading because every page is like so much to take in that it's taking me ages to read. But no, it's so interesting. I definitely recommend No Logo as well. That's really good. That's more like consumer side than like environmental, though. But it's still super interesting.
But it's like it kind of says lots that lots of like social theories would not say. So it's kind of interesting. Like my lecturer, like John Wayne, was calling for like a journalist, but because he's like into like more kind of academic like Karl Plan and that stuff. But
yeah. I don't know, for like my level of understanding, which is still like I've just started uni, like quite not basic, but like quite.
But I like Karl Plan because I'm having kind of a left wing background, so and she as well, so she was involved with Occupy sort of stuff. So what she says, we should invest not into like companies but into like community enterprise.
Yeah, she's reading her book if it's like, of course, like this is the obvious answer, like why aren't we doing this? But I don't know. I think they're doing I think she's made a documentary of it and they're doing screenings of it around the country.
Yeah, they do.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen the documentary. I saw Do the Mass by Bill McKibben, so that one.
I haven't heard of that.
Oh, that's where they did the tour like across 21 cities. So they did a film on it and they were screening in every kind of city. 21 cities back in like November, December, and I think since November 2012. So that's how the investment started.
Cool.
So like a tour across years and then the film as well.
What's the film called?
Do the Math.
Do the Math. I'll write that down.
It's really kind of inspiring.
I'll definitely look into that.
Also, like in the investments, like there is like I'm curious what would be like feminist perspective in it. There should be definitely a feminist perspective in it. There is like definitely like LGBT perspective and like Queers for the Climate. So that's an organization in New York that took place in People's Climate March in September 2014. And also like indigenous people, like Lakota people, they did their kind of stuff during the march.
Before we start, like there's going to be pictures and stuff taken, so if anyone doesn't feel comfortable with like pictures going online and stuff, because you So I'm Sarah, I'm Phoebe, and we're going to talk to you today on why we think that climate change is a feminist issue. It's part of Divestment Week, which I'm just going to explain quickly now.
Hi guys, I'm Rob from Divestment Week. We've got quite a few of the team at the back there, Katie and Harry and Joanna in particular. Divestment is when you take your money out of an industry. So basically what we're asking is for Newcastle University to remove its £6.9 million that it has invested in the fossil fuel industry. We're asking them to do this because we universally agreed that we have to avoid a 2-degree rise in global temperature to avoid irreversible climate damage. To avoid doing this, we have to avoid emitting more than 565 gigatons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And currently, the top 200 fossil fuel companies in the world own reserves of more than 5 times that. And they are literally scouring the globe for more resources. They're pursuing mountaintop removal, they're trying to drill for oil in the Arctic. They're simply not listening anymore. So what we're asking to do, the university to do, is to make a social stand and to take its money out of the industry, to stop lending the industry the social and moral authority that it has been granted over the last 150 years, and to say, as a university, it is no longer acceptable to teach your kids to become stewards of a better future, while at the same time investing in and profiting from the destruction of that future. So what we're doing is we've got talks throughout the week, like this one, feminist one. There's a finance one going on at the same time. We've got a petition running, which I believe is going around. Does anybody have that petition at the moment? Maybe I've got it at the back, but I'll be sending it around. If you've signed it already, please don't sign it again. But if you haven't signed it, please sign it. There'll be talks throughout the week on international imbalance by UNICEF and IDS, a apolitical issue talk on Wednesday, and a big divestable with NSR playing throughout the day, and food and fun and everything else. I'll leave it to you guys to go.
So before we start, we're just going to initially ask in groups whether you think climate change is a feminist issue and why. And like, if you do you think how much of a pressing issue do you think it is? So yeah, you can just like discuss amongst yourselves whether you think it's an issue or not.
So yeah, I think it is because I don't know. I guess it's an everyone issue. It's to do with the future of the world, and that's.
Do you think that like women like specifically benefit or because do you think like because feminism is also like different types of feminism? Yeah. So it's like there are like non-white feminists that kind of would it probably like like for example like think about like Bangladesh. Like so which would really be the run for them if they kind of the current rate of burning carbon will continue. So yeah. I would agree it's a feminist issue that probably also like for actually like women of color is probably more kind of critical.
I'm interested in why actually.
If you say it's not feminist issue, what would be your argument?
I have no idea. I don't there's any argument for that.
It's actually kind of a new thing. It's like a blog I'm doing.
I don't know. Like I don't know too much. I kind of just want to find out more.
Separate.
I don't really know.
I was at the very last page. Yeah, kind of do like some kind of stuff. But the blog's called Degrees of Change, and it's basically like almost it's like if people kind of.
Do you think there is not sufficient representation of like women generally like in politics or like in companies?
No.
So you want to put it down in the ideas? I know like you didn't actually say that, but you can feedback. Who like actually does think it's a feminist issue before even hearing anything about it? Do you want to say like why you think it's a feminist issue? Anyone? Go. Okay. So who pick?
Well,
Yeah.
you can pick me.
Who's thought it was a feminist issue?
Sorry, it wasn't me. Anyway, Yeah, I think it's a feminist issue because I think that the people who are going to be like disproportionately hurt by it are probably going to be women, like people with marginalised genders, basically. And you also see like I think women are the most like vulnerable in terms of like economic and social stuff anyway, and so when you start to like see things like big catastrophes happening, like you actually sometimes do see like women being worse affected. I remember there was like a flooding that happened after a tsunami, and it was the women who were more likely, women and children who were more likely to be killed because they were kind of like trapped at home, whereas the men had already been out to work or like had access to transport and all those kind of things.
You were saying that like women are just generally underrepresented in like the discussion, and it's sort of all the facts that seem to hear about it seem to come from men, which I think is representative of like how men seem to dominate like STEM-based discussion anyway. But I think that's important too.
Also, that people responsible for the companies are like run by So like I think from that we all gathered that we kind of all see it as an issue. And to be honest, you guys don't like so much about it, but I don't think a lot of people maybe see it as like much of an urgent issue as it actually is. Climate change destruction is very real, but it's not equal. And also, it's clear that people are more affected by climate change. They're more likely to confront 70% of the world's poor women. As you can see, 85% of victims of climate change are women, and 75% of biological refugees are women. 4 times as many women died in tsunami-affected areas such as Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and India. So we looked particularly at Bangladesh and Cyclone Aila, which was in 2005. 179 people died, and more than 2.6 million were affected. And this left over 500,000 people homeless, including Regina. And Bangladesh in itself is already one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. And it's likely to face even more frequent floods, cyclones, and droughts. And these women, particularly, are suffering because of our mistakes here. A big problem there is climate-induced migration. Basically, their husbands have to travel out of where they live, leaving women on their own to do even more jobs because of climate destruction, basically. This video actually explains it a lot better.
মানে কোনো খন্ডবাড়ি হতো না, ওই ধানও লাগাতে পারতাম না, এগুলো পরে ভীষণ অভাব ছিল তখন। আমার স্বামী তখন কী করে, সে একজনের সাথে আমরা থাকতো একসাথে, তারা ঢাকায় যাওয়া আসা করতো।
Poverty levels are very high, and with the changing climate and resulting loss of income-earning opportunities, migration is often seen as the only means to earn a living in the southwest of Bangladesh. Women and men are affected differently by migration. Most often, male family members migrate and the women stay behind.
আমাদের জায়গা নেই, জমি নেই, যত সময় খাটাখানি পাবো সাত সময় তো খাবো, বাচ্চা কাছে খাওয়াবার জন্য বিদেশে আমার স্বামী তোমার আয় রোজগার করতে যায়।
The male members of the family travel to cities near and far for periods of 3 to 6 months in search of work. Some struggle to find work, suffer from illnesses or injuries, and often cannot send money back to their families. Firoza Begum's husband has returned to the village after falling ill.
বিদেশে গিয়ে দেখা যাচ্ছে সবসময় যে আমার কাজটা হয় তা হয় না রাতে এক সপ্তাহ পর্যন্ত না খেয়েও দিন চলে যায় যখন এইভাবে বিদেশে ওষুধ বিসুখ হয় তখন বাড়িতেও টাকা পয়সা পাঠাতে পারি না তখন বাইরে খুব কষ্ট হয়।
Like Firoza and her husband, Minoti is also trying to manage her family in the absence of her husband.
বাচ্চা কাচ্চা হয়ে গেছে তাদের লেখাপড়া শেখাতে হবে কারণ আমার বাইরে খাটাখাটি করতে হবে দেখা যাচ্ছে মাটির কাজ যেখানে যে কাজ পাই লাগাচ্ছি আর মাটির কাজ করি দেখা যাচ্ছে কেউ যদি বাড়ি ডাকে যে পশু পোড়া বাঁধতে হবে পোড়া বাঁধি দেয় কেউ যদি বলে যে আমার এই ঘর লিপে দিতে হবে ঘর লিপে দেয় এমনকি মানুষ যদি বলে পায়খানাগুলো ফাটিয়ে দিতে হবে টাকা দেবো তাও গরিব মানুষ আমাদের করতে হবে স্বামী যখন বাইরে কিন্তু তখন দেখা যাচ্ছে বাচ্চা কাচ্চা পড়াশোনা বা রোগ বৃদ্ধি খাওয়া দাওয়া সমস্ত ঝামেলা আমার মাথায় মিডিয়া আমার সামনে থাকে।
These are some of the voices from the front line, the women and men confronted with the realities of climate-induced migration.
Okay, so another place that we looked at is Nepal, which will be affected a lot by climate change, and it will have an effect on 4 main areas. Firstly, snow, glaciers and water. 20 of its glacier lakes are potentially dangerous and could cause floods at any time, which would be catastrophic. Also, agriculture, because the population is increasing, but crops are affected by soil erosion, so food won't meet demands. It will also affect species and lead to extinction. And finally, could cause outbreaks of serious illnesses like malaria. Nepalese women confront multiple forms of discrimination in law and institutions, and this means in turn they're affected by climate change. Like in Bangladesh, men are seen as breadwinners, therefore more and more men are leaving their villages to look for employment. This means women have to take over the work of men, including their household responsibilities. And also trading of forest resources for income has reduced the availability of them, so there are no more trees in the village. And women have to travel further to get resources. 6 hours every 3 days, and they're also at risk of falling because the forests are located on like really steep slopes, so it's dangerous as well. And we have another clip to illustrate.
In many developing countries, like here in Nepal, it is the women's responsibility to fetch water and carry it home. But for 54-year-old Ambika Zegdal in the village of Chahov, that is easier said than done. Every time she needs to get water to drink or cook, she has to hike for half an hour to the water source, sometimes taking a blind neighbor along. When they arrive, they only find the well that has almost completely dried up. The women spend hours scraping the little water there is off the bottom of the basin. You have to scratch the surface, so you'll get a lot of dirt as well. Then you need to filter it to make it drinkable. And sometimes there isn't enough for everybody. What can I do? I'm blind, not coming to collect water is not an option. I can't see, I can't walk fast, my friends walk ahead of me, and by the time I get here, there will be no water left. With the climate changing here in recent years, women face an increasingly unequal burden. At a village meeting, the women voice their frustration. And Ambika tells of the tiger she recently spotted close to the water. I don't know if my husband saw the tiger or not, but I was angry with him anyway for having to work at this old age, and I was angry at my parents because they should have married me off to a place with more water. And some of the man's rules make life now even more difficult for women. We have been told not to take a bath near the well during our period. For 4 days we can't go there. There's a stream a little further away, but even there you don't always find water. A rural water supply and sanitation project, as well as plans for a climate resilience program, both financed by the World Bank, will help Nepali villages to improve these conditions by building better water storage systems, providing women with better access to water and taking some of the burden off their shoulders.
Okay, so as you can see from those videos, this is actually an issue that's affecting people right now, and as much as it's not affecting us directly yet, it's clearly affecting people on a massive scale. So like, if anyone, I think everyone kind of thought it was a pressing issue, but if anyone didn't think it was as urgent as it is, do you think you've like changed your opinions, or have you got anything, do you feel like differently after seeing them at all? Or just feel conscious of it?
So like urgently as a feminist issue?
As a feminist issue, yeah, sorry, yeah, as a feminist issue.
Yeah, that like explained it because I didn't really know, so that's it. Explained it more.
But yeah, it's really true. Like I knew that in Bangladesh it's actually really like hot, but now actually, so I really know what the issue is.
Yeah.
So, and you can actually see that. Also, one thing that was mentioned is that I've been married to like a village with less water. It means that she probably didn't have much choice where she married to. Which is you can definitely and like basically like overworked women, so we has to do lots of jobs to have a chance to send the kids to university.
Yeah.
It's kind of exacerbated the context where jobs like fetching the water is more and more difficult to climate change. But as you said,
but also like what I know that like during the climate change march in New York in like September 2014, there were like women from like Bronx, so like poor areas of New York where like Latino women live, who have their own kind of issues. So they try to kind of speak at the climate change march in New York. So so that these women wouldn't have much actual representation in the kind of UN climate conference which is taking place. So it's many women who kind of live in this, but they don't have much say of what is being decided.
Yeah, I guess in a way it's like it is affecting everyone, but it's because women tend to be at the bottom of the social, and that's why it's getting.
And you can see like I don't know. It looks like it's quite like a patriarchal society still.
Yeah. But we're still going to see things like the land disappearance of race and housing crisis, which is going to affect women. It's going to be things like
I read in the Chronicle yesterday that there was like a 15-year girl in Gateshead who just died for some reason, like on 9th of November. You don't read the Chronicle?
Discuss.
Oh, right.
I'm saying leave people to discuss for a little bit. I didn't think they'd had enough time to discuss it. Sorry.
What do you think?
No, but there was like 15 years old who just died, like collapsed, like 9th of November.
What? Where?
In Gateshead.
Oh gosh.
Here actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you sir.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, sorry. Should have made sure those people stuff. It's stuff with it, yeah, I definitely.
But it's like we don't really know much about like Bangladesh, but whatever we know is actually is to say that it's really difficult life living there. They have much more kind of responsibility, so involved in like taking care of children, and also like basically like
and less freedom as well to like escape that.
Yes, and lots of actually workload.
actually focus just on women who only practice like sex. It means that we basically erase the whole massive group of women, and it's like those are the most badly affected by and it's the same in Israel.
So what do you think we should do really? Like, can we actually here, for example, like do something that will, like, you know, kind of relate to the problems that women have in Bangladesh, or it's just like hypocritical to say, oh, like, you know, how poor are they, but you know, just we can talk as much as we want.
Exactly, I was thinking about that.
Because it's really like a big, like, kind of. Because basically the problem is, like, you know, like whiteness can, like a white person really understand like the problems that like women in like other parts of the world. Also because you know that most of the clothes that like H&M sells is actually produced in Bangladesh, so you can actually like shop like made in Bangladesh, which is like probably like these women are very underpaid. Those who make these clothes.
Does anyone want to like say what they've been discussing? What were you guys saying?
We were talking about how obviously it's kind of quite visible how, like, in countries like Nepal or like India and those countries that are like very vulnerable to like environmental change, that like women will be negatively affected. So partly because we have like a bit of a kind of neo-colonial viewpoint of it, because whenever we think of those countries, we always think incredibly poor people who don't have access to like basic services. So it's kind of easier for us to be like, oh, of course women are going to be worse affected there. Whereas obviously there's still like quite large middle class within a lot of those countries anyway. So there will be some people who will be able to shield themselves through it. But we don't really think the same in this country, because we're like, well, women are like, you know, they're generally protected, they're like not so vulnerable, but actually there's a lot of working class women here as well who are going to be really negatively affected by environmental change and stuff like food price rises and all of those kind of things that are going to happen. It went on a bit of a tangent, but does that make sense?
Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, it's just one thing is the problem of like whiteness. Like, can we like, isn't it like a little bit hypocritical? Just as like, can we actually experience like what kind of work overloads the experience of this kind of inequality in patriarchal society? So it's good to argue this, but you know there is always buts. So can we, you know, the kind of limitations to how we can actually understand what's happening. Because it's our kind of neo-colonial kind of mind frame. So in some ways, because the criteria of happiness may be totally different, like in Western individualistic society, like everybody is responsible for itself, but there you see actually like a blind woman and the other women actually helping her, something that, you know, maybe not all as often as, you know, should happen in our society.
I think certainly like looking at colonialism as a massive problem in the climate change discussion as well is important, but when you look at the sort of sheer reality of 1991 Bangladesh floods, 5 times more women died than men. We're looking at 70% of the world's poor being women. The sort of nature of the imbalance is quite so ridiculous that it's kind of just about fucking time to start doing something about it and starting to address that inequality and imbalance, rather than just worrying about looking at a Western ideal versus a global South ideal of life or happiness. I think it's just a sheer reality of inequality all over, not simply here or there.
I thought just this point about food prices was quite interesting, because I suppose food prices are something that are likely to fluctuate as a result of climate change, and ultimately probably to kind of increase as like certain crops become more difficult to grow, etc. I suppose maybe this is something that would kind of link both developing and developed countries, and the idea that women who traditionally have a role as like a homemaker and to be responsible for feeding the family and all this kind of thing, prepare food. Do you think that would disproportionately affect women as well? The idea of like food prices and the cost of food, women would kind of have to bear that kind of burden as well, and kind of providing for the family in that sense.
Yeah.
In both kind of like developed and developing scenarios.
It obviously affects them in different ways, but I also think like kind of what you're saying, because women often are living purchases and stuff in developed and undeveloped countries, like they can make conscious decisions here as well, like to, I don't know how to explain it, like they can make better decisions surrounding it, but yeah, I think it does affect.
And that's an interesting point as well. I suppose the women are almost empowered in that sense, that they have the opportunity to choose like options in like kind of that are more sustainable or yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, I think we're
Yeah, sorry.
We were just chatting a bit about that as more industrialised because sort of in a position of more because they're more likely to go sort of more tertiary jobs and production chains without whether they're going to be less affected by sort of dangerous like agriculture and sort of factories where like women in it then end up filling probably those roles in agriculture and in factories where they're going to be much more affected by sort of natural disasters and flooding or like pollution in factories, like air pollution being one of the biggest killers worldwide. So like that's going to affect them a lot more because they can set behind.
Yeah. So obviously the next issue is probably representation. Although, like as we've seen before, women are the ones mostly impacted by climate change. They're not the ones mostly being able to speak about it. Out of 146 national delegates at most climate change talks, only 7 are women. So once again, women's voices are absent from a debate that mainly affects women. Yeah, Gender CC are a network of activists which have done heavy research on this, and they agree that ignoring gender in the issue of climate change perpetuates gender inequality. So a lot of research has basically said that in merging the issue of climate change and gender inequality, it makes it work. It makes them both better, both issues of social justice better. So it's definitely something that needs to be considered more, I think. Just before we go on to the next slide, does anyone have anything to say about the actual perpetrators of? Obviously, everyone is responsible for changing climate change, but like who does it affect? Who do you think perpetrates it more? Men. Wrong.
Just me. Yeah, I think I guess probably the lifestyles of like a stereotypical man is going to consume a lot more energy in terms of just meat consumption to start with, and then you're looking at sort of driving cars, like sort of those kind of hobbies are possibly probably going to mean that men consume more energy and therefore emit more on average, I guess.
Actually, we did find this study from the Swedish government in 2009, and it found that there are significant differences in energy consumption for women across 4 European countries. And as much as this might be obvious, it does make you think that women are mostly affected by a problem that's mainly perpetrated by men. But however, looking at it just contextually as in the West in general, we are the main cause of climate change, so we all need to change quite radically to help each other. Basically, we found these 3 goals, which was from the Women's Climate Change Network, and they're a bit wordy. So we were thinking if maybe you guys could discuss what you think would be better goals. Well, they're obviously really good goals, but how do you think you could do things practically? What do you think we can actually do on this level? It could be really small or a big change that you could make that could and write it down on your thing.
Make a group. Sorry. You wanted like a marker actually. I sorry you came prepared for that one. What can we do here? But it should be Feminist Society, so it should be because then I can
like really basic questions like sort of like being vegetarian, don't carry your car, like just in your daily life. Yeah. And then also I think like stuff like this, just discussing it. They raise awareness.
Did you mention not driving the car?
Just general, so much
Just like, what do you think?
I would be, I guess, what she said was a tiny proportion of women in the government's position that are discussing this.
Yeah, the standards.
Talking about Bangladesh.
Yeah.
If you think of a man, generally thinking about white man. If you think about women, generally thinking about white women. Even though you're talking about global context, these are what normalised and is growing up. So it's very important that
just go to Bangladesh and say, yeah, we should do
small hairy faces.
It's really hard to get.
More structural. Structural place.
Women not allowed to work as much, so he's the one who has to go away.
Do you think we need to change here or we need to go somewhere?
I'm just thinking about
They did say something.
there is a way to change that.
Yeah, no, I think
Like mortality rate, there is always bigger
increasing access to all services.
But
Thinking about being it, so.
I always thought that when men actually like die early, then they were usually right.
What do I usually write?
Sorry?
Believe.
I know you.
Oh, wait, so, I think it's generally
Alright, yeah.
Yeah.
like they're buying all the time, wearing new stuff. Buying new stuff just like
Maybe like
people who weren't
maybe it's just material
Just like,
do you know like apparently if you like to buy more clothes suggest because they can only so nice and things like
Institutions are very democratic.
that's kind of a better way to say it. But basically,
charity shopping where you buy like second-hand.
so like obviously it's easier when you because you're teaching them basically.
Just being aware of what labels are like ethically, whatever sourced in. Like obviously not white, whatever. Because that is actually probably quite relevant to women who work in children as well.
There was that video going around about talking about dead.
But I actually like, in Sweden, more people in parliament than actually, actually says that they're
something like that.
Because it's like they are the ones that take care of children, so they're the ones who should usually
more pressing issue than others instead of actually their internet. So it's sort of education of how they're environmental. Yeah.
I think I've got all the sides not watching
it was really good up until that.
Rather than think of like climate change as like the issue, but like the actual
no, we can't look at these because they're not kind of it's going to be more complicated. If you're not tying them all together, then you're going to be extremely like, one of the things was that one of the women was
Is there like something related to basically not LGBT issues? Are they
to kind of just say that fuck everything else, climate change.
Is there like a particular goal, like is it particular film of color that we see like in Bangladesh or like like sexual violence
it's just like climate change.
Because for example, like if you are like kind of upper middle class like person, I don't know, like in UK, probably your career path will be determined once
but not just any woman or woman that are.
It's kind of you're not really interested in any like kind of big issues. They came from kind of upper middle class background, they're mostly like white people from UK, like South America. No, it doesn't really know. It's only like where are you coming from? I'm from Ukraine.
Remember that video we watched? The one where the guy said about global warming. He's in a suit. And then we were watching it, and then he said,
but we have like a woman president.
Remember? I don't know, it was a while ago. We talked about it. I was like, oh, this is a good video. And he was like, oh yeah, because I said, and then he said, because he said, like, sorry, talking about feminism. But we were saying, he was saying like, we were saying like how we always
I think probably like all the predators kind of the most they put her in prison because she was her birthday is 27th November, actually the same day as my birthday, because she really stood out. She was kind of corrupted, like gas market. She was complicated and like make a deal. But on the other hand, she would introduce some kind of new thinking, so she make some kind of stereotypes, all this on many people like this, and many people vote for her because of this.
And never.
Not. No.
Yeah, but that's a little thing.
Yeah.
Especially in science. Yeah, something like that. It's not noticeable.
I think that's a good point though. It's like a lot of
Are they mostly like men in your discipline? Are they mostly like men in your discipline?
Actually, potentially, it's like this is why you see I think that's important to incorporate social discussions.
I don't see, because I mostly work with men, and I have really big problems with them. Because like how men think coming from different countries, totally different. I think why I'm kind of getting interested in climate change because it's relevant to that's why it's a good topic to kind of tackle things like poverty and whatever, people like country like Bangladesh, suffering from dry weather, what is like white people need to build all this structure,
Yeah.
In terms of pollution, basically, it depends on many factors. Paris affects because Putin is very clever because he is unethical and if there is a bacteria, he will strike. So he sees a big gap in kind of Western security. So he starts moving Russian special forces.
Sorry, yeah, what are you guys saying about apart from what you are saying?
He will be like,
I think it's good to like split it up like that. Where you invest so much, not in property. Yeah, I like that. Change consumer. I'm going to talk about how completely your plans to like how should it more women if they're not in the way that we're trying to deal with these kinds of I don't know why. I don't have an answer. That's something you might want to discuss.
Because in politics and business it's still men who are kind of linked to the big kind of, and even people who are like representatives, they're thinking what the men who are shareholders are kind of thinking. Because I actually maybe a couple of years ago I was listening to a radio program people like women in charge of companies in the United States, and she was saying, oh, I have 2 venture capitalists sitting on my board, and they were listening, so I think it was real kind of on the outside kind of everyone trying to you have like these people powerful interests.
Still, I think women speak out much more peaceful than men with the same opinions because they're women and it's a new thing to have like a woman in power, like lots of new but relatively.
Yeah, well, like so places, where you could like start to introduce
just in terms of like license, we put a lot of that out in kind of more isolated. If you had like 10 operators with these partners grassroots, that would be like led by women.
Do you trust non-governmental organizations? Non-governmental But do you generally think like the problem should be like solved by the government when
Some places.
check it should solve it everywhere.
Because a lot of the time what we're talking about is the fact that
It should be the government
we have these women economic opportunities and men who have the opportunity what can we do to make sure that women who are left
I think NGOs are kind of very important to the government that's not doing it.
the best as possible.
Someone should be
New
doing that.
energies, but I think it could be something that we can
Which is better than anything.
provide
Better
or
than
like
anything.
invest in.
Probably if that community in Bangladesh, probably if women could have more say, because they clearly within most of the work. So if they would have more say about kind of the men would do where children will go and get their education, there would be a more balanced
Skill sets. It's just like I do biology, but I do more like set phrases like regurgitate and like essays. Diversification of skill sets.
It's like encouraging women. Because obviously again, men leave, women are left kind of it's very low remains of like cotton it's like a Bangladesh, so that's what we kind of carry. You go into like Children area of the street like most of the towns of Bangladesh.
So you say you're Paris?
We say here we're going on Friday.
Okay. That's what I Is the coach leaving? Is it actually Friday? Right, it's early morning. Friday. I guess it's going to go to
Okay, guys. Does anyone want to talk about what do you think? Have you actually picked apart what this was saying? Who wants to get that? At the back, you want to go back?
We were saying, like you were saying, having representation in discussions would be really important. And wanted to mention as well. And yeah, because you said it didn't really put out, but still maybe better. And also talking about how climate change affects women more, so bringing it up more. And tackling capitalism. Woo! And yeah, you were saying about the cooker.
Basically, I had a really fantastic program about how small changes make big effects. So one of the big reasons that it affects women more, and one of the big kind of causes of death for women is that women often the ones cooking inside for families, and they're cooking on cookers that are burning dirty fuel, and that causes a lot of respiratory infections, so like pneumonia and stuff, and it will drastically shorten lifespans. And I heard a really fantastic program about how for like £5 by changing the shape of the flower pot, you can make these cookers really much more efficient, so they burn far more efficiently, so you have fewer particulates, and you increase people's lifespans hugely because you're just reducing the amount of baby. So it's just like tiny, tiny things, but that's science. That's not necessarily policy. That's really cool inventions.
Anyone else? We talked about engaging children with appreciating nature, so like encouraging children to love the outdoors and to learn about nature. We were talking about how in some children's dictionaries they've removed words like BlackBerry and replaced them with words like Wi-Fi, and taken words out that have sort of like meanings in the natural world and replace them with things that they will understand in technology. Which is really sad, I think, that they can't have an appreciation for both. Yeah, what else did we say? And just encouraging women to engage in STEM subjects so that hopefully more women will be like in the debate and be engaged in the debate as well.
Yeah, kind of touching upon that point, we sort of focus on representation and gender inequality, and we thought that maybe introducing like women-only shortlists to these international bodies on climate change would be quite a good solution. And also, like feminism aside, I think maybe incorporating like disproportionate representation for the colonial countries that really bear the brunt of climate change, and also like getting more of these members from these sort of countries in these international bodies.
We said put a focus on sustainable renewable grassroots energy in places where the women, like in Bangladesh where the men have gone, setting up renewable energy sources so that they can become self-sufficient, which would then lead to the empowerment of women and the diversification of skill sets. So it sort of puts the power, that wasn't my phrase, gives the power to the woman and makes them more sustainable instead of when the men go, they're like, they've got nothing. And of course that would then lead to them relying on sustainable energy, which would reduce carbon footprint and all that stuff. So it works both favours.
We also said that it was really important that we're looking at increasing access to core services, so like access to water, food, healthcare stuff, all of that kind of stuff is really important. Yes, and more women in the debates.
We try to say there should be more women in politics and government. And, even those few who are there, they're kind of thinking if they say something that men will not like, and that's not what should be.
Well, we had like a basic points where you guys thought about better ones than us. We just thought like obviously use your consumer power, so think about what you're buying, think about what you're using, anything like that. Invite investors to get involved because it's a main political issue. So yeah, just like get involved in local politics to encourage sustainability within like our community and stuff. And spread the word. Just before we finish, we just wanted to say that like although women are underrepresented in this debate, there are obviously like really amazing women on the front line that are doing it. I mean, these are just two, there's obviously loads, but this is Ina Garl. She talks loads about the political economy of gender and its relation with environmental issues. And she has like loads of books on land rights in Southeast Asia. She has like loads of stuff really cool. So she's really cool.
Yeah, and Learning Kind, author and social activist, got a film coming out called This Changes Everything, and I think there's a young Greens trip to go and see it. But we did find out that it was challenged on.
But she criticises corporate globalisation and capitalism and its relations to global warming. We just have like a little clip. Oh yeah, we must have. So thank you guys for coming. Jess is going to take like a picture. If you guys want to write this and why you think it's an issue, you can all get a picture and see what we have here. But also there's a film showing now that we're going to start 7:30 at K8 room. So it's quite, how long is it?
It's called Do the Math, and it's
Math.
sort of an introduction to what divestment is as a movement and why it's so effective, and why we should be involved with it. It's just a 40-minute video, multiple fish and drinks as well.
Yeah, so if you guys want to do that.
Do you want a big... a big group photo in front of maybe the first slide. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I just wanted to share a quote with you guys. There was a Women's Freedom Conference about a month ago, and it was raising the voices of disempowered women across the globe. And there was a quote that said, I think it's really relevant today, how much of my female empowerment required another woman's disempowerment? So we're talking about climate change, we're talking about stuff like that, the environment, how much of your personal empowerment comes from a woman of colour in another country, being disempowered. So it's a way of a push to be ethical, which will fit into that. So, yeah.
Great. Can everyone come to the front and take a photo? You don't have to be in it, but do
Oh my god, yeah. No. My ego loved to study next to James. I was like, mate, we can be best.
He said you're nice, actually.
No, he's a nice guy.
Can everybody say, I love the environment? Or feminism?
Environment. Environmental feminism. So the rest of the week.
Yay! Okay, is anybody being inspired and would like to write something to the board? We'd really appreciate it. Oh, and we also have the petition here. Anyone hasn't signed it yet?
Okay, come to this Musk film. It's the one.
Is that the one that's going
Yeah, the one you mentioned.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll come again because I saw it on YouTube on my own, so it's maybe a different experience in a group. If you use it or just take a phone, maybe it just
Oh, I can't. Is that the old?
not like a state
But I read that was 11 when I was
I think you're right. Okay. Oh, alright.
I mean, it was
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, you mean, yeah. I got one of the big ones.
See you later. Are you not? Oh yeah, good luck. Pardon? Yes, already. If not, okay. Cool. See you there. Bye. See you later. Yeah.
women would like us to be fully
Jonathan Dean from Leeds University doing research on feminism. Actually, you have heard no? No, it's actually like a male lecturer in politics and international relations who does research on feminism. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Oh, really? So you do like environmental stuff?
Not as progressive as that. I know that he did his PhD on like faucet society, which is like, he tried to look at like liberal and radical feminism.
Yeah.
It's basically different strategies. No worries.
I think powerhouse is much better.
Yeah, there's a way to do it. There's ring families doing this.
Yeah.